All right, welcome to this week's episode of Increase. If you're watching on YouTube, I am also here over on a live Zoom room, and I invite you to join me over here on Zoom. So I'm getting in the chat right now, and I'm going to put a Zoom link. And love to meet you over here when the episode's over. And we cut the live feed. I'll still be around on Zoom. Love to meet you. Talk more about today's episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Increase. I'm Blake Anderson. Welcome to episode 55. Glad to be back here with you. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us wherever you're listening. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Reach out. We'd love to hear from you, see how we can help. If you're watching this episode and you stumbled upon us, Increase is a place where we talk about how to have success in our lives, how to experience more. Kind of our tagline is that we would learn to apply spiritual principles to get natural results. We dig a lot into leadership, personal leadership, organizational leadership, hoping for greater results. You've heard me say from the beginning of the year that I think if you are going to experience more in 2024, then it is going to be a product of your leadership. So we're going to hit it heavy. And I think that if you'll dig into this with me and you'll make it a real focus of yours to take your leadership to another level, that you'll see increase, whether that comes through a promotion or raise, the business that you've started starts to take off, new opportunities you didn't expect, that I think you'll see that as a result of your increase. The first episode of the year, we made a case that there's a phrase in the success community that luck happens when opportunity meets preparedness. And I want this to be a lucky 2024 for you. And so I want you to be prepared. So I think there's opportunities that are always waiting for us, and oftentimes we don't see them because we're not prepared. But as we get prepared for those opportunities, then we're ready to step into something on a whole new level. And if you're following us, you know that we get prepared by taking our leadership game to the next level. Now, the last few weeks, we've been getting into some real nuanced tactics for leadership. Last week, we talked about the importance of embracing problems. Leaders have to be problem solvers. They don't see problems as setbacks. They see them as setups. They see them as doors of opportunity. No matter how uncomfortable they are to you, a leader understands that those uncomfortable places are teaching you something new, that you'll just walk through that door to go to a whole nother level. We talked about how to make effective decisions the week before that and check your assumptions. Gave you a 4-step biblical process on how to make great decisions. Check that out. And then we talked about how leadership is what's next, and it will take you to the next level. And I want to continue on, because you've heard me say that if you're going to do anything great in this world, you're not going to do it alone. You might see someone's face on a billboard. You might see a one person name on a YouTube video or on an album cover, but they didn't do it alone. It takes a team to get anywhere great. And the people that end up in great places are the folks that have leadership capability and qualities. They're able to inspire and take people to the next level. The best leaders understand that they have to start by leading themselves. They hold themselves accountable. They take responsibility for their own actions, and they understand that they must always be preparing themselves for the next level. And so they start by leading themselves. Best leaders then start to lead out in the concentric circles of their life, from their spouse to their family to close team members. But great things will come at the result of teams and organizations accomplishing them together, and it will take a leader to take them to great places. So I want to start digging in deeply into organizational leadership. It's kind of a buzzword in the business community that really started to take off maybe about 10 or 15 years ago. But I think it's probably the highest form of leadership. Now, probably the most important form of leadership is personal leadership. And we've spent weeks upon weeks talking about how we can lead ourselves and take ourselves to another level. But the highest form of leadership is your ability to take an organization somewhere. It's your ability as a leader to rally the troops and bring stakeholders and team members together to accomplish something so much greater than yourself. And even the great leaders like Martin Luther King or Gandhi or Donald Trump or Jesus Christ, they were presenting a message. They had a mission much greater than just themselves. And even Jesus, who taught us to pray in his name, and we were preaching the gospel of his kingdom, his mission was to lead humanity to a greater place that would come through this message that he has for them. So I want to start to shed light on what it means to be an organizational leader. Everybody can be a leader where they are. John C. Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So anywhere you have influence, then you're a leader in that space. Whether you're at the bottom of the corporate ladder or at the top, you still have the potential to be a leader. And the best leaders will actually normally be found somewhere in the middle of the organization, because the best leaders know how to not only lead down, lead horizontally, but even the best leaders know how to lead up the chain. And it's the best leaders that understand organizational leadership, and they understand if they're going to get anything effective done, it won't be because they did it. It won't be just to make their name great. It'll be them trying to do something great, motivating and inspiring a team of people to work together to accomplish it. So let's unpack organizational leadership a little bit more. And before the episode's over, I'm going to give you the 5 keys to successful organizational leadership. And in the weeks to follow, there's a 7-step process to organizational leadership. We're going to go step by step. We're going to drill deep. And if you'll stay with me for this week and the 7 weeks prior, I guarantee you're going to be another person ready for a whole new opportunity on the other side of that. So sit tight, buckle up, dig in, join me on this adventure. So just some definitions, as you'll see written out there on the internet by people writing about organizational leadership. Organizational leadership is about leading and managing individuals towards achieving a strategic organizational goal. So an organizational leader is a change agent, someone who sees the big picture, but also understands the processes or steps to make change happen. All right? Organizational leaders are change agents. They look for the process and the steps that are necessary to make it happen. They rally a group of people around with a variety of skill sets to do that. Here's another quote about organizational leadership. Organizational leadership, while nuanced, is exactly what it sounds like. It entails directing and coordinating individuals within an organization to achieve its goals or mission. So let's just make this simple, right? Organizational leadership is about leading teams of people to accomplish organizational goals, okay? To accomplish a goal for the organization. So are you an organizational leader? That's what I want you to think about. I think there's not enough people that see themselves as leaders, and we all are. And if you work on a team of people, no matter how small, then you have the ability to be a leader, and you have the ability to be an organizational leader. Anytime you can bring a team together to do something greater than yourself, you have the potential to be an organizational leader. So what's possible if your team started working better together? What if everything started firing on all cylinders? What if everybody could rally around a common vision, put their egos aside, and give everything they have to it? Think you can get some different results in 2024? I've often said that there's no economy too bad for a great business. There's no economy too great for a mediocre business. What could happen in your business if the organization worked together? If you could be that change agent, they got people to put aside their differences and rally around that goal and truly mean it. Well, I want to give you 5 keys to being a successful organizational leader. All right. Embrace these 5 keys. Start to apply them to your current teams and watch your perspective change. Watch how you deal with people change, and watch the people on your team start to respond differently. So key number 1, for successful organizational leadership is commitment. You have to be committed to the goal that you're after, and you've got to foster commitment on the team for that same goal. You see, the Bible says, how can two walk together unless they be agreed? Right? Isn't it that simple? We've got to be in agreement that we're going to the same place, and we're going to all have to decide to be committed to get there. Because anywhere great is going to come with obstacles. It's going to come with unexpected problems. It's going to likely take longer than you hoped. It's going to be challenged. It's going to be threatened. In the first sign of tough times, people often turn around or run or change the goal if they're not truly committed to it. So it's going to take commitment. Here's the other thing that commitment normally does is when you actually commit to something, you burn the ships, you burn the bridges, you cut the ties, you say, we're going here no matter what. It's amazing the creativity that happens. It's amazing how when you put a need before God, how he supplies it in ways you never expected. I love this quote by Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone says that creativity follows commitment. So when you feel like you're lacking creativity, make a commitment. And I so agree, because here's the reality. Most people are saying, I'm not feeling creative about that yet. I don't feel led to do it. Well, the reality is you don't need creativity right now. See, God supplies the need. And until you've committed, you don't really need the creativity. It's amazing once you make the commitment, how creativity will follow you. Second key to successful organizational leadership is clarity. It's clarity. So we've all committed we're going to somewhere great. But we've all got to be really clear about what that entails, about where that destination is, right? We've got to be clear on who's contributing what and what it's going to take to get there. We need that clarity to couple with our commitment. Now, commitment has to come first, because you can be clear all day long, but until you make the commitment, you won't be going anywhere. But right on the heels of commitment, to get people to really follow you anywhere, you've got to start providing some real clarity. So oftentimes we're saying, we're going to that mountain over yonder. It looks like a great place. Awesome, let's go. But we got to start providing clarity so that when things get hard, or where you walk away and you wonder if the team's going to work together or not, that everybody's really clear on what it's going to take and what we're doing and who's responsible for what. Third key to successful organizational leadership is humility. It's humility. Humility has got to be of the utmost importance to everyone, but especially you as a leader. You see, if you're an organizational leader, then this goal is not about you. This goal is about the organization accomplishing something so much greater because they've decided to work together. So there's got to be a level of humility. You as a leader cannot be insistent on being the smartest person in the room. And you're not going to go anywhere great if you have to have the final say on anything. You see, organizational leaders understand that as powerful as their gift might be, they're going to need the help of everyone else. And so I'm going to have to value them. I'm going to have to welcome their input. I'm going to have to be humble enough to listen to maybe something I haven't thought of. I'm going to have to be humble enough to learn from a challenging circumstance. I'm going to have to be humble enough to change strategy when the one that I had written out doesn't work. And we're going to have to engender that and encourage that throughout the team. When people start getting fixated and intent on one particular solution, they're not open to see the other possibilities. So humility is the third key. Fourth key of organizational leadership is alignment. To accomplish anything great, we've all got to be aligned. We've got to get all of our energy aligned. We've got to get all of our efforts pushing in the same direction. How could a boat get anywhere great if the right side's trying to row to one way while the left side's trying to row to the other? We've got to be aligned. And it takes that commitment and that clarity often to get us aligned. Now, the fifth key is cooperation. It might seem to be the most powerful, but I'm going to tell you what, cooperation isn't possible if we haven't done the first four keys. Ultimately, we need cooperation. We need everybody working together to accomplish something. But we've got to establish the first four keys if we ever expect the fifth key of cooperation to be possible in an organization, right? So cooperation is we're all using our gifts, our skill sets to work together. We're not pulling against each other, right? But how can we truly cooperate if we don't have alignment in what we're doing? How can we have alignment if there's not humility where we honor, respect, and value the other people on the team? How can there be cooperation and alignment if there's not clarity on where we're going? And how could we ever expect anyone to cooperate for a sustained period of time if there's not a collective commitment to get there? These 5 keys can revolutionize your team. Now, you may not wear the title of the boss in your organization, but you still can be the organizational leader. Because the leader in the group isn't the person with the title. The leader in the group is the person with the influence. It's the person that everybody listens to. It's the person that happens to have the answers. It's the person that people are willing to follow. And the organizational leader in the group is the person who's got commitment to getting to the goal that we've all agreed on. It's the person that's always providing clarity to the team and knows very clearly what they're doing. The organizational leader is the one who has humility and listens. You speak so much more to your team through the words you don't say than the words you do. You speak so much through the attentive eye and the open ear than any of the instruction that you might give. The organizational leader is the one that's always trying to find alignment between the team and help everybody work together. And then ultimately, the organizational leader is the one who creates cooperation through that shared commitment, clarity, humility, and alignment. And you may have the title called the boss. You may be the CEO, you may be the founder, or you just may be someone at the bottom who's got influence because you served your team well and you're helped leading them to a new place. I was in a leadership discussion with some other leaders in a group I participate in. And one of the gentlemen at the table was talking about his frustration because his boss wasn't humble. The ego kept the door closed. He didn't seem to be open to listen to what my friend had to say. And I know my friend to be a good leader. And he asked for our advice. Where do I even start when the boss isn't even listening? And we don't have much of a culture because he doesn't participate enough in what we're doing. And my advice to him was, well, start by leading the rest of the people. If you can't lead up because the door is not open, you can lead horizontally and start to bring the team together. Build your influence through the way that you serve the rest of the folks on your team. And watch your sphere of influence grow. And don't be surprised when you start getting the calls from your boss that you never got before, because he realized if anything's going to happen on this team, it will be because this person has got the troops to do it. Take your game to the next level. Watch 2024 be a year of more. Do it through organizational leadership, because there's so much more possible when you get a team of people together to do something that you couldn't do by yourself. Stay with me for the next 7 weeks. We're going to dive deep into organizational leadership. There's seven steps to it. And it's a process, 1 through 7, and you have to start at 1 and you have to go to 7. It's the process you can start a business. It's the process you can start a team. It's the process that each individual person needs to go through to become an effective organizational leader. God bless you. We'll see you next episode of Increase. All right, if you're on YouTube, about to cut the live stream, click the link in the chat. We're over here on Zoom. I'll stick around for a few minutes. Love to meet you, greet you, talk to you some more. If you're on Zoom, just hang with me for a second while we get this switched over a little bit.